Right then guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to the video. Today we've got something, as you can see from the table, that is going into the engine bay of my Honda Civic Type R EP3. This is a fuel rail kit from Kaizen. I've got what I would class as the full send package. I've gone for a black fuel rail, I've got a grams fuel pressure gauge, and I've also gone for a carbon fibre skin across the top. What's cool about this product is actually you don't have to commit to all of those things. You can pick and choose what you want. So if you want just the fuel rail, you can get just that. If you want to do the pressure gauge without the carbon, you can do that. Just it's all mix and match, which is pretty cool. So links to all of this stuff is going to be in the description, and you can use my code Olly EP3 to save yourself 5% on this as well, so save yourself some money. This is pretty affordable anyway, depending on how you spec it up. I mean, even fully spec'd, it's not even that much. Links in the description for all this stuff, and yeah, don't forget to use my code to save yourself some money. So what I'll do is I will show you the engine bay, and then we'll get into installing this thing. Okay, so this is my engine bay at this point in time. I guess you could call this episode 1 of the engine bay development. Do have a chainsaw going on in the background, sorry if you can hear that, but the idea is get this cover off. I've already started taking it off. Get that cover off, and then under there is the fuel rail, so it's super easy to get to. So let's whip this off and then I'll show you. So now that that cover is off, it obviously exposes the standard fuel rail, and basically all it really needs to take it off of the car is to undo these two 12mm bolts here. So gonna get those undone, get those off. So you need to hang on to these because these obviously need to go back on the new fuel rail. Next step's going to be you want to put some tissue paper or something that can absorb some fuel, because basically we're going to take this green clip off and fuel is going to come out of here. Right, that took some struggling, but you can pull this black bit towards the induction kit, and then with a flathead screwdriver is what I used to pry the green towards the fuel rail, and they basically eventually come apart, and now I can smell fuel, and it started to drip onto that paper, so definitely put the paper down. So now that that bit is unclipped, you've now got to unclip these connectors here that plug into the injectors. There's 3, and I did this one as a test, so I knew what I was doing. So that's unclipped, and then there's a 10mm bolt for an earthing ground, so to undo that as well. So in theory this whole thing will come out now, but what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this plastic bit. I'm going to take that off first so that I'm not fighting with that once the fuel rail comes off, which is super easy. You just pick out these bits, one here. That thing now lifts out like that, so now the fuel rail is free. There should be some resistance because the injector seals should have obviously created a seal. I needed more pulling than I was expecting. The fuel rail is out, and it's basically time to swap the injectors over. So you take off these clips on here. You don't then need those for the new fuel rail, so you don't need to use those again. And then these should come out. It's recommended to replace the O-rings when doing this. I'm not going to do that this time. I have ordered them. I'm not going to do that because my fuel rail is going to have to come out again when something else arrives. Hint, hint on future videos. So I'm actually going to just hope that these are all right and don't leak when I put them back in. I've also given the injectors a wipe down just because they're grimy I assume these have never been out of the car. So I've given them a wipe down so they're cleaner than they were when they came out. So let's get these clips off, get these injectors onto the new fuel rail. Injectors are out, but obviously still a lot of fuel in the fuel rail. Definitely keep the tissue down, that's why we've got it down. Now it's time to put the injectors into the new fuel rail. I put some Vaseline on the O-rings just because I want them to survive and not get damaged. So let's put these in here. Fuel injectors installed, and then you've got to remember to put this green clip on and remember which way around it went. So obviously when you go to clip it back in the car, it goes in the same way. There we go. There's a little ridge for it to sit on. Now is the point where if you've gone for the grams fuel pressure gauge, that's when you install this. If not, make sure that your grub screw has got some PTFE tape on it. I've already put some PTFE tape on this fuel pressure gauge, and you literally just screw it in. So that is the fuel pressure gauge installed, and now this should be ready to go back in the car. I'm also deciding to take this bit off, so these just come off with a couple of flathead screwdrivers, because ideally what I want to do is tuck this around so you don't see this on top anymore. So I completely forgot that I had to put the carbon fibre piece on before putting the fuel pressure gauge in, so I've taken that back out and it's now time to stick on that. Okay, so obviously easier with 2 sets of hands. Okay, now we can put the fuel pressure gauge back in. Right, now this is ready to go back in the car. I've put some Vaseline just to lube up the O-rings. You can just use spit if you want to. Just need to slide this in and get it to go in equally. Okay, so some time has passed, and keep the spacers, and also for me, this probably won't affect you, but for some reason this pipe was bent down, which meant I couldn't actually get this past the pipe. So what I've done now is bent this up, and it does now fit under. So it is now time to install this for the last time. So that's the ground in, and then you just clip in all the electrical connectors. And now we slide on the fuel pipe again into that green clip. That was a satisfying click. And in theory, we're good to prime it. We're going to go for priming the fuel pump, which is just like turning the ignition on. And hopefully we don't get any leaks. So this is the leak test. Whoa. Okay, stop it, stop, stop. So it's leaking up here because I basically completely forgot to tighten this up. So don't forget to tighten this up as well. This was just hand tight. So I'm hoping I've tightened it up enough. I've just used an adjustable spanner. So we're going to try again, and if it's not tight enough, I'll just tighten it up a bit more. But here we go. So I got some fuel pressure, but it is coming out of the fuel pressure gauge. Right, so we were leaking out of the fitting for the fuel pressure gauge. That's because I did it up hand tight, but as far as it would go, it felt like it wouldn't go anymore. So what I've done now with a spanner on the nut underneath, I've gone around an entire rotation of the face once more. So we're going to see if that's enough. If that's not enough, then we'll go again. But let's have a look. Okay, we've got fuel pressure. Okay, this is, I don't know, third or fourth time lucky. So we decided to take the fuel pressure gauge out completely because it was ever so slightly leaking. And the more we tightened it, the more it started to bubble up out of the tape. So we've decided to take it off, retape it. And now this is the first time trying it with the new tape. Let's have a look. Okay, this is looking promising. I can't see anything leaking this time. And then let's get an engine start and pray and hope. I would say that is a success. We have no leaks. Okay then guys, it's actually the next day. I decided to take it for a test drive, leave it overnight and all that stuff just to check there's no leaks. And we are all good. One last thing that I've got. Kaizen actually sent out a oil cap. If you saw my engine bay cleaning video, you'd have seen I had a Mugen style one. That came off the same day. I lost it somewhere on the road. I still have no idea where it actually went. So I put the standard one back on since, you may have seen in the background of the video. So Kaizen sent out one of their oil caps, so I'm gonna get that on as sort of like a celebration of finishing this. So we'll get that on and then I'll show you how it looks in the engine bay. So the problem I had with the Mugen style one was that the seal kept on coming loose, which meant it would just spin off by itself because of the engine revs. So that's why I have no idea where it went, because it happened while I was driving. And then you just put the sticker on. Boom. There we go. Cool bit of carbon effect on it so it matches other things in the engine bay. Link in the description for this if you want one of these, and again use my discount code Olly EP3 and you'll save yourself 5%. Alright then guys, as you can see it looks way better in the engine bay than the standard one does. This is sort of part one of the engine bay cleanup because obviously a lot of other bits don't look that great. So subscribe if you want to see more updates from this, or just go check out some of my other videos if you're interested in the Civic. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Remember to check the link out in the description if you want to get any of these parts. Subscribe, like the video, comment down below if you've done this or you're going to do this, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.